Do you ever feel a silent pressure, a weight you can't quite identify? It's not stress from today. It's something more insidious, the invisible burden of future expectations. We're often tethered to imagined successes and failures, to the person we think we're supposed to become, to timelines that were never ours. And in this video, we'll uncover how to finally release that unseen weight and reclaim your peace. Let's begin. There's a weight you carry that no one can see. Not even you, most of the time. It's not the weight of what you've done. It's the weight of what you haven't done yet, what you think you should have done by now, what you're afraid you'll never do. It's the weight of future expectations. And here's the thing. Most of it isn't even yours. It's the career path your parents envisioned for you, the timeline society mapped out, the milestones your peers seem to be hitting effortlessly while you're still trying to find your footing. It's the version of yourself you promised you'd become by this age, the goals you set 5 years ago that you still haven't reached, the life you thought you'd be living by now. And every day you wake up, that weight gets a little heavier. Because you're not just carrying one expectation, you're carrying dozens, hundreds, the accumulated pressure of every should you've ever internalized. You should have it figured out by now. You should be further along. You should be more successful, more stable, more certain. You should have that promotion, that house, that relationship, that sense of arrival everyone else seems to have found. But here's what no one tells you. The future doesn't exist yet. And the weight you're carrying, it's made entirely of imagination. You're exhausting yourself trying to live up to something that hasn't even happened. You're carrying the burden of 1,000 possible futures. The one where you succeed, the one where you fail, the one where you disappoint everyone, the one where you finally measure up. And none of them are real. None of them are happening right now. But the weight is real. You feel it in your chest, in your shoulders, in the way you can't quite breathe when you think about where you're supposed to be versus where you are. And the cruelest part? You think this pressure is helping you, that if you just carry it long enough, eventually you'll become the person you're supposed to be. But it's not propelling you forward. It's pinning you down. Let me tell you what happens when you carry the weight of future expectations. You stop living in the present. Because how can you be here when you're constantly measuring yourself against there? Against some imaginary finish line that keeps moving every time you get close. Every moment becomes a referendum on whether you're on track. Every decision becomes loaded with the pressure of, is this moving me toward who I'm supposed to be? You can't enjoy where you are because you're too busy judging yourself for not being somewhere else. You become paralyzed by perfectionism. Because if the future version of you is supposed to have it all figured out, then every decision you make now feels like it could derail everything. So you freeze. You second guess. You wait for the perfect moment that never comes. You research endlessly. You make pro-con lists. You ask everyone else what they think you should do. Because you've convinced yourself that one wrong move could ruin the future you're supposed to have. But here's the truth. You're so afraid of making the wrong choice that you stop making any choice at all. You feel like you're failing, even when you're not. Because no matter what you accomplish, it's never enough. You get the promotion, but it's not the right promotion. You hit the milestone, but you hit it too late. You achieve the goal, But now there's a bigger goal waiting. There's always another expectation, another version of yourself you're supposed to become, another standard you're falling short of. And the worst part, even your wins don't feel like wins, because you can't celebrate where you are when you're too busy berating yourself for not being further along. You lose yourself in the chase. You stop asking, what do I actually want? And start asking, what am I supposed to want? You optimize your life for some future self who may not even recognize the person you've become to get there. You choose the career that looks impressive over the work that makes you come alive. You pursue the goals that sound good when you tell people about them, instead of the ones that actually matter to you. You become a stranger to yourself, all in service of becoming someone you think you're supposed to be. And the exhaustion, it's not from working hard. It's from carrying tomorrow's anxiety today. From trying to be someone you're not yet, and maybe never will be. Here's the truth. You can't live in two places at once. And right now, you're trying to live in a future that doesn't exist while abandoning the present that does. The weight you're carrying isn't preparing you for tomorrow. It's stealing today. So how do you let it go? How do you release a weight you've been carrying for so long that it feels like part of you? It starts with a simple truth. You don't have to have it all figured out. I know that terrifies you because you've been taught that having a plan means you're responsible, that knowing where you're going means you're in control. But here's what I've learned. The people who seem most certain about their future are often the most disconnected from their present. They're so busy building towards some imaginary destination that they forget to notice where they actually are, who they actually are. You don't need a 5-year plan. You don't need to know who you'll be at the end of this. You don't need to hit the milestones everyone else seems to be hitting. What you need is to be here, right now, without the weight of who you're supposed to become crushing you. So here's your permission. You are allowed to let go of the person you thought you'd be by now. That version of you, the one who had it all figured out, who was further along, who made all the right choices. They don't exist. They never did. And mourning them is keeping you from becoming who you actually are. You are allowed to release the timeline, the one that says you should be married by 30, financially secure by 40, established by 50. Timelines are made up. They're arbitrary markers that pretend life follows a script. But your life isn't following anyone's script, and it never was supposed to. You are allowed to stop carrying expectations that were never yours to begin with. The career your parents wanted for you, the life your friends expect, the milestones society says you should have reached. None of that is yours, and you're allowed to put it down. This doesn't mean you stop having goals. It means you stop letting those goals hold you hostage. There's a difference between moving towards something and being weighed down by it. One pulls you forward, the other pins you in place. Goals should inspire you, energize you, make you excited to take the next step. If your goals are making you feel inadequate, anxious, or like you're running out of time, those aren't your goals. Those are chains. And here's the radical part. When you let go of the weight, you don't fall apart. You don't become aimless or lazy or lost. You become lighter. You become present. You start making decisions based on who you are now, not who you think you're supposed to be someday. You stop performing for a future audience and start living for the person standing here today. You start asking better questions. Not, am I on track? But, am I at peace? Not, am I where I should be? But, am I where I want to be? And that person, the one standing here today, they don't need your anxiety. They don't need your guilt. They don't need you to carry the weight of tomorrow. They just need you to show up, to be here, to stop abandoning the present for a future that hasn't happened yet and may never look the way you imagined. The future will come. It always does. But it doesn't need your weight. It needs your presence. It needs you awake, alert, available, actually living instead of constantly preparing to live. Because here's the truth. You don't need to become someone else to deserve peace. You don't need to reach the next milestone to be allowed to breathe. You're allowed to be at peace right now, right here, exactly as you are. The weight you're carrying, it's optional, and you're allowed to let it go. So here's what I want you to do after you finish this video. Take a breath, a real one, the kind that fills your whole chest, and ask yourself, what weight am I carrying that isn't mine? What expectation have I been dragging around that I never chose for myself? What version of me am I mourning that never actually existed? And then, gently, without judgment, set it down. Not forever, not in some dramatic act of rebellion, just for today. See what it feels like to move through your day without that weight on your shoulders. See what it feels like to be here, fully, without the constant pressure of becoming someone else. You might be surprised at how much lighter you feel, how much more alive, how much more like yourself. The life you're building doesn't need to look like anyone else's. It doesn't need to follow the timeline. It doesn't need to impress anyone. It just needs to be yours. And it can start being yours the moment you let go of who you thought you had to be. Before you go, 3 things. First, if this helped you release even a little bit of that weight, press the like button. It helps this reach someone else who's been carrying tomorrow's burden today. Second, comment free below. 1 word, your declaration that you're letting it go. Third, subscribe to The Becoming. This is a space for people who are done performing for an imaginary future and ready to live in the present that actually exists. The weight you're carrying, it's not yours, and you're allowed to put it down. I'll see you in the next one.